Hi, I'm Johnston, and I'm running for the Federal Liberal Party in the riding of Kootenay-Columbia this fall. I'm a Kootenay kid. I grew up in the basin, and I enjoyed living here tremendously, and I consider myself very lucky to have come from a region like this. I graduated from high school in Nelson, did my first year of university at Notre Dame University in Nelson, and then, like a lot of young people from this area, I headed off to bigger places to do my education and to build my career. The first work that I did was actually working with street kids who were having some problems with substance abuse. And I discovered early on that what I wanted to do was work for organizations that were all around inclusion in communities and that were focused on making sure that everybody in a community was respected and involved and engaged. And went on to a long career in community development, both within Canada and internationally. I was lucky enough to have a chance to see the world, to work overseas, to do important work in my mind, and to always have the opportunity to feel like I was making a contribution. Through this work, I began to understand just what an amazingly wonderful country I was privileged to have been born into. And I also began to get a much deeper understanding of how lucky I was to have grown up in this region and how special what we have in the Kootenay-Columbia riding really is. So when I had the opportunity to come back as CEO of the Columbia Basin Trust, the second CEO, I was thrilled to have the opportunity not only to do the work that I was coming to do, but also to bring my daughter, who was in grade 5 at the time, back to this region so she could grow up here. It was an amazing period as we were creating a new organization, and I had the opportunity to travel widely in this region and to meet people from literally every community in the region and to work together to build this organization that's still an incredibly important organization in this area. I then left and went back east for a few years, working as President and CEO of Canada World Youth and then President and CEO of Canadian Executive Services Organization, but I always knew that I was coming back and that I would retire and live in this region. When I got back, I began to realize that I thought that as a country we needed to return to what I considered some of the basic roots of what Canada is to me, and that perhaps I had a role to play in helping to bring that about. I've always believed that change starts with individuals, and change then grows by bringing more people into the picture and creating momentum. I've never believed that one person can't make a difference. I've always believed that history shows us that it's only one person or a small group of people that ever create real change. I want a Canada that is a fair and equitable and caring country, a country that understands that it has an important role to play internationally in terms of working with other members of the international community and living up to its commitments to the institutions and organizations that we're part of as a country. I believe that the MP is a role that can play a really positive influence within the area in terms of networking and convening people. But I also feel we've moved a long ways away from understanding the primary role of the Member of Parliament, and that is to effectively represent the constituents of this riding in Ottawa. That's why we created them. That's what the foundation of the government was built upon. I think my experience working within Canada, working internationally, and in particular the 6 years that I spent with the Columbia Basin Trust, enables me to understand the issues that are impacting on rural communities and to work hard in Ottawa to raise the profile of rural issues. We live in a country that's 80% urban, and rural issues are not high on anybody's agenda. I think we need to change that, and I think we need to begin to understand collectively within the regions that by working together across sectors, across districts, across communities, that we together have an opportunity to build a new reality And that's what my commitment is as your member of parliament when the election happens in October.